Well, good morning and welcome to Day 3 of the 2018 IWRF GIO Wheelchair Rugby Championship. It should be a terrific day of wheelchair rugby action. The first game we've got on court here at the Key Centre is Great Britain and Canada. John O'Farr and Molly Gray in commentary. Good morning to you, Molly. Great to have you here in the broadcast booth.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here on Day 3.
So Canada get us underway and Troutman will work the ball nicely. Gives it to Whitehead. Whitehead just pushes through some traffic, some busy stuff to get through. Great work there from Roberts in the 9 to try and work his way through defensively. Whitehead working his way nicely. Has Troutman there in support. Might slow down the clock. About 20 seconds left on that shot clock. Comes away deep inside that attacking key. Tries to play it at the line. Brilliant work there from the Canadians. Brilliant pass over the top. And it's Troutman that gets us underway. So it's so crucial to get that first point on the board. Yeah, Molly?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really important that you come out firing at the very start of the game. Get your momentum going. It's all about momentum.
And speaking of momentum, Jimmy Roberts gets the points there for Great Britain. And we're one apiece. And only 40 seconds deep into this contest as Troutman gives the ball across to Whitehead. Whitehead just tries to work his way through that defensive key, as you can see. Steed is working nicely in defence. He's got a great battle there with Whitehead. They come together inside that attacking corner. Some work to do here for Whitehead. Maybe needs some support there. Troutman trying to work hard through some traffic. But it's great work there from the number 2 in Coggan that's trying to prevent that. Troutman works his way through. Comes at the line. Whitehead provides protection. Great hands close to the line. Tries to get the point. Can he get there? Yes, just squeezed through. Far side of the try line. And the Canadians lead 2-1. What a start from Canada, Molly.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Canada have really come out, like I said before, firing and getting their momentum going through the game. But what I'm really liking is Great Britain's defence. They're right up in their face and they're contesting it the entire time.
You've seen a couple of games now. You started with Australia, New Zealand here at the Key Centre. What are your thoughts on wheelchair rugby?
You know what, this is the first time I've ever seen wheelchair rugby, and I'm really enjoying it. It's very different for me from normal rugby. Obviously, that is my background. But what I'm loving is the intensity of it. Seeing the Australian game the other day, you know, one of my favourite players, and I think a lot of people, is Riley.
Yep.
He's incredible, absolutely ferocious type of player. So, yeah, no, it's been a great week so far.
Yeah, he scored plenty of points yesterday in their big victory, 71-38 over Sweden. And now the Canadians trying to work the line. Troutman just working hard, but Roberts is making him work even harder. Terrific work there for the Canadians. And it's the 41 in Rodriguez that's just creating a nice blockage. And the holding the ball call has come there. So the referee will step in. Of course, we've got the best of the best in the referees with so much experience at the world and the elite level. Probably the intensity is pretty similar to women's rugby and wheelchair rugby, Molly.
Women's rugby, oh, they're insane. I love it. They just they get right into it, and that's what I love to see here today as well. I think everyone is just giving it their best shot, and it is the World Championship, so you have to.
So Australia, of course, hoping to go back-to-back. They were victorious last time. Started in 1995, the Wheelchair Rugby Championship. It's been all over the world, and if Australia are to claim the title in 2018, they'll be the first side to defend on home soil, which will be a great honour for them, coming off that win at Rio, where they beat the US in double overtime.
I did hear about that. I think that's absolutely amazing. And it would be, you know, to be on home soil and to be able to win the championships, it is such a big deal. It doesn't happen very often, so they definitely have their eye on the prize.
Does it make a points difference, or what sort of difference does it make when you're playing rugby and you're at home, you're in front of your fans? Does it change your preparation? Do you feel a little bit more nervous because you're in front of your family and friends? What's it like?
Do you know what? I've actually never played on home soil. So I've been playing for Australia since 2014, and I have played all over the world, but never at home. So the Bledisloe is coming up in 2 weeks' time, and the women are headlining for the men, and this is the first time in 10 years that they will play at home. So I unfortunately do not know what that is like.
Jeez, wow, 4-year gap without playing at home. You must have used a few stamps in that passport.
Yeah, well, you know, we're really lucky. We do get to travel, not as often as the Rugby Sevens, but I've been over to France. That was where I went to my first World Cup. My second one was in Ireland, so we are quite lucky. But you know, I think with the preparation and the preparation for a home game is definitely a lot more intense. You want to be able to impress family and friends.
So 3-2 here, Great Britain and Canada. Whitehead gives the pass across court. Nicely worked from Troutman, and Brandon Troutman will get the points for the Canadians. So 3 apiece there, with just over 5.5 to play before quarter time. Of course, if you've never seen wheelchair rugby, 4 8-minute quarters. And if we have to, we go to overtime until we have a result. Most I've called is 4 quarters of overtime, which was quite taxing on the voice, Molly, as you can imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I had an experience with that recently in rugby with the Super W. We went into overtime, and that went for an extra 10, maybe 15 minutes. So you get a bit tired by the end of it, but not as tired as the athletes, I'm sure.
So Troutman, he'll work his way nicely there. Tries to look for some opportunities. He's got Whitehead just in front of him, but Whitehead providing nice work in defence. Beautiful pass over the top. Oh, Canada are going to score a superb goal there. It'll come through Trevor Hirschfield. Nice connectivity across the court there, Molly, for the Canadians.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the way that they position themselves around the field is really crucial, and just getting away from the defence as well.
So James Steed gets the points for Great Britain, as you can see. And now the margin goes to 4-all, and now it's 5-4, courtesy of that Steed goal. Just under 5 to play before quarter time. It's wonderful to have all the support of our naming rights sponsors, GIO, City, Land Rover, the support from the Australian Government, the State Government, New South Wales and Sydney.com, and the supporters, the Australian Defence Force, the Navy, Rugby AU and Wheelchair Sports New South Wales, as Troutman gets the pass away. Hirschfield on the fly. Here comes Steed trying to work his way through. Coggan is nicely getting in there for Great Britain, but Whitehead will get the pass and he'll try and take on the line. Troutman just on his right-hand side, now on his left, trying to work it there to Rodriguez. But Rodriguez in a bit of a defensive position, as you can see at the moment. Troutman working it nicely, but Whitehead with the ball. The Moulton ball in his hand, gives it away nicely to Troutman. Troutman tries to get the pass away beautifully. And that's great stuff from Canada. Hirschfield gets the try. Geez, they're pretty to watch when they can click it together, Molly.
Yeah, they absolutely are. They work hard, but Britain are definitely making them work for their money. But you can see here that Great Britain retaliate really quickly, so they're able to get points back on the board straight away.
So 6-5 now, courtesy of the Roberts goal there for Great Britain. Of course, Canada looking for their first win of the tournament, going down to France in a bit of a boil-over. You called that one with Steve Rebilliard and Bevan. Your thoughts on that game between France and Canada?
France and Canada. Oh, I love that game. I thought it was amazing. France were out of control. They were they were so impressive, and they were just really aggressive and quite fast, which was enjoyable to watch.
It was a massive boil-over in the world of wheelchair rugby. France were expected to lose that game to Canada. And Canada, of course, they went down last night in that contest against the Danes. So an interesting set of circumstances for the Canadians. They'll be desperately looking for their first win of the tournament. Of course, Ireland is another team that's joining us here for the first time in the Wheelchair Rugby Championships. They're also looking for their first win. Canada working hard with Troutman. Steed just working nicely and defensively. Here comes Jimmy Roberts trying to take on the line. Troutman, beautiful pass over the top. Whitehead work to do. Has Rodriguez in front of him. Troutman on his right. Beautiful pass over the top. Hirschfield will finish it. Oh, that's magnificent stuff from Canada. Really starting to pile on the points. And Great Britain, they're responding quickly, as you mentioned, but geez, Canada, they just seem to be really clicking together well as a team.
Yeah, absolutely. And Hirschfield, he has a really good knack of finding himself in space, so he's able to get that lob over the top and go straight over the line. So his positional play is quite impressive.
Now, the last meeting at a World Championship was 2014 between these two sides. They played the opening game, and it was an overtime win to Canada. They were victorious by a point, 59-58, as Roberts gets the steal. That's what Great Britain needed. They lead at 8-7. Roberts will go around Hirschfield and he'll get the try. So now the margin goes out to 2 points with just over 3 to play before quarter time. Canada inbound it with Hirschfield. Nicely played it to Troutman. Rodriguez works well in defence. Whitehead goes straight into the number 4 for Great Britain in Walker. Now they work it nicely up mid-court, as you can see. Roberts just trying to get the ball off Whitehead, but he gives the ball nicely away there to Troutman. Troutman back to Whitehead. Whitehead connects, goes hard at the line. Roberts tries to defend. Numbers are coming strong. Great catch close to the line by Troutman. Troutman now some work to do. Brilliant pass to Whitehead, but he couldn't keep it together. Oh, Geez, it would have been one of the goals of the tournament if they could get it there, Molly.
Yeah, absolutely. But credit to Great Britain, though. Their defence is on point today. They're so aggressive, they're so in your face, and they really know how to box in Canada, especially in those crucial moments.
So a great contest developing here. John O'Farr and Molly Gray, of course, you're part of the Australian Defence Force. Tell us about your role for those that don't know.
I am. So I've been in the Army for about 10 years now, and I've actually been really lucky. I did Army for first 5 years. I did my job, which is just administration, so great job. But then after that, I managed to convince them to let me just play sport, really, which is great. So, like I said earlier, I'm a rugby player, and while I was working my way through the ranks of the Australian side, Army have been amazing in supporting me to do that. So, it's a great organisation and a huge lover of sport, obviously, because they are here as sponsors of the wheelchair rugby.
As James Roberts gets the try there for Great Britain. You mentioned Australian rugby. You're part of the Wallaroo squad. How did you get into rugby? Was it something you picked up as a kid or something maybe a bit later in life?
My mum used to play. So she was about 35 when she started playing. I was a kid on the sideline, just loved being a part of it. Tried it in high school, hated it. Absolutely hated it. And then it wasn't until I joined the Army that in my second year I found myself at a training, and just sort of clicked from there and learned to love it and realised that I'm really aggressive and love running into
Bit
people.
of white line fever?
Oh, just great. Can't pass the ball to save my life, but I can definitely throw in a good face fend.
Oh, don't worry, this broadcast is going nowhere. I'm sure the coaches aren't listening.
No. They know that I can't pass the ball.
Right, okay. Right, okay. So we're back to the action here, and Canada try and work it nicely through Moroa. He'll inbound it. Gives it back in field to the number 12 there in Patrice Daganese. Daganese now to Whitehead. Whitehead will play it there. The margin is 3 points. 11 points to 8 in favour of Great Britain at the moment. Just under 2 minutes to play. Bit of a collision there mid-court between Whitehead and the 13 there for Great Britain in Phipps. Moroa. Nice overhead pass there to Whitehead. Whitehead just working his way closely to the line and gives it away to Daganese. And Patrice Daganese, he played a different role yesterday in defence, Molly, but seems to be playing an attacking role as we saw there.
Well, Canada are doing a really great job in attack, aren't they? If they keep shifting the ball around the way that they are, like obviously I said before that Great Britain's defence is amazing, but Canada, if you just move the ball around, you're always going to be able to get over that line.
So it comes away for Jimmy Roberts to get the points there for Great Britain. One of their prolific goal scorers, probably close to the highest goal scorer once this is all said and done. Moroa inbound for Canada to Whitehead. So the Great Britain side, they lead by 3 now, 12-9. As Whitehead now, some work to do for Canada. Tries to get outside that defensive line. Gives it across the halfway line. Nicely worked there to Caldwell. Caldwell now scored plenty of goals yesterday in their late game against Ireland. Now it comes back inside to Moroa. Moroa has Daganese there, but a pass to Whitehead. Whitehead connects nicely with Caldwell. And Caldwell positions himself beautifully for the try for the Canadians. Great Britain will inbound it now. So making a couple of changes here, the Great Britain side. Ryan Cowling there with the ball. He gives it nicely inbound to Phipps. Phipps will just play it there. Gives the ball nicely away, and Roberts gets another try for his tally. You're seeing the tactics. Are you noticing the tactics after your time watching the sport, Molly?
I am starting to pick up on it. I really liked how Canada had 3 players on one of the Great Britain players, but what they failed to do, I guess, was see the Great Britain player go on the outside, so he could go for that, for that long ball. So you've really got to be on point. You really have to know where everyone is. It's that situational awareness, just like this one here.
Yeah, Phipps gets the try on that occasion. Great work from Jimmy Roberts to get the changeover. And that gets the margin back to 4. And we're just over 30 seconds to play. Moroa will just wait for the positional play to get themselves set in position. And Moroa now to inbound it. He'll fire the molten ball across court, gives it to Whitehead. Whitehead works it nicely, but Phipps gives him some grief. Roberts in there too, giving him some trouble. Now Whitehead works his way nicely. Tries to get the pass, goes over Daganese' head, and it goes out of bounds. So Great Britain really starting to apply some pressure here now, and it's making the Canadians panic.
Well, that's it. It's always how you act under pressure. So hopefully while they've been training in the lead up to the World Championships, they've been putting themselves in those sort of situations where they can keep calm under pressure.
Cowling inbound to Phipps. 14-10, under 20 seconds to go in this first term. Phipps straight up the middle, looking for support, but won't need it. He'll take his time. He's got 8 seconds left on that game, and shot clock just gets closer. Gets a bit of a bump from Whitehead, and he goes over for the try with 7 seconds left. So 14 points to 10 in favour of Great Britain, as you can see. Some nice battles going on between the two sides early doors of this one. Canada, they, as I said, desperately looking for their first win of the tournament. On day one, they went down to France, so they've been a little rattled since that. But they played well yesterday in their games, and now they'll be looking for a win against Great Britain. Nice stuff from Ryan Cowling, and gives the ball away to Phipps. Phipps will just take his time, count down that clock, gets it to 2 seconds remaining in the quarter, and he'll get the 15th goal for Great Britain. Moreau to inbound. It'll be interesting to see if Canada's hold it. And they do. Whitehead goes to ground with it. So there we go, Molly. 1 quarter down, 3 to go. 15 points to 10. Great Britain lead it over Canada. We'll take a break. On the other side, all the action of the second term. Well, welcome back to the Key Centre for Day 3 of the 2018 GIO IWRF Wheelchair Rugby World Championship. John O'Farr and Molly Gray in commentary for this one between Great Britain and Canada. Canada with Caldwell now, just playing it at the line, tries to get inside that attacking key, has Troutman inside that try area, tries to get around the player in Steed. Roberts comes in for some attention, gives the pass nicely away, goes there to Troutman. Troutman just holds up the pass. Just tries to go himself now. Has Caldwell just in front of him. Has a couple of players close to the line. Nice pass over the top. And it'll go the try there for the Canadians in Fabio Lavoie. So he'll get the try there for Canada. They respond first up for this term.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I love here? You can see every time Great Britain today have just retaliated so quickly once they get the ball back. So they get the ball right up to the other end of the court, which is really good to see. It puts a lot of pressure on Canada as well.
So Roberts working close to the line, and he gets in there for the points. So nicely worked for the Great Britain side. 16-11 with just over 7 to play before half-time, which is the main break. Gives the ball inbound nicely to the number 10. in Hirschfield. Hirschfield goes downtown to Caldwell. Caldwell, here comes James Steed for Great Britain, trying to cause some problems there. Pearson as well, he's coming in for some attention, but a nice pass over the top to Troutman. And Brandon Troutman scores a pretty classy try in the end, Molly.
Yeah, absolutely. I really love those the long lobs over the top. You know, if you find yourself in the right position, you can really do a lot with it, can't you? And the support play from that as well is impressive.
One of the things that amazed me when I first started calling this sport was just the mobility these guys have on the court. How quickly they can move, pivot, turn, find gaps. And when it looks close to the try line there where Travis Maroa is inbounding it soon, they can be blocked up quite there at the line and you think there can't possibly be a gap. Then all of a sudden it just opens up.
Yeah, that's what I noticed on the first day as well, just the way they manoeuvre around and how fast they do it, and then when the gaps open up and they just get straight over the line. So, I mean, God, you've got to have a lot of shoulder strength to just keep moving around like that, don't you?
What do they call it? Leg day and arm day at the gym?
Absolutely.
So the ball will be inbound shortly here. So Great Britain starting to just get away there. You can see the Canadians having a bit of a board meeting. The Canadian coach there just coming in and giving them some instructions. The new player on the court there for Canada is the 15. And that is Simard. Patrice Simard. The second Patrice in the side, Patrice Diganese and Patrice Simard. As Caldwell will take it up for Canada. So they're trying to get back this margin. It stands at 5 at the moment. Tries to work the clock. 13 seconds left on the shot clock. Needs to get rid of it. Goes over the top. They go backwards to go forwards. And Troutman gets the try for Canada. Nice placement for the Canadians close to that try line. Great Britain now want to respond pretty quickly here to get back that lead. Try and get it back to 5 points as Steed works hard. Goes over the attacking quarter. Here comes Brandon Troutman. Jams him in on the top, but Roberts comes over the top. And he gets the try for Great Britain. Superb work for the Great Britain side there on that occasion, Molly.
Yeah, it's really great. They're quite a fast side, aren't they? And unlucky for Canada, you know, you work so hard in defence to stop one player, and then their support player comes right up and just glides straight over the try line. So, but you know, Great Britain are a classy side.
Working it well, the Canadians. Now Troutman, 5 points to lead, 18-13 in favour of Great Britain. Troutman works it nicely around Steed. Roberts is coming in. So too the 15 in Simard. He's providing some protection there, trying to get Roberts away from the ball. Troutman now tries to get the ball into Hirschfield, but can't. But Hirschfield goes into a defensive role, tries to thread the needle. Hirschfield on his right, now on his left, works it beautifully. Great work from Hirschfield in defence, and Brandon Troutman gets the try for Canada. As Cowling will inbound it very shortly. Of course, these two sides played each other in the Christchurch games in 2006, and Great Britain, they won both games. 33-32 was the last time they faced off each other. So based on looking at the stats, 59-58, that was at the World Championship in 2014, and 33-32 in Christchurch. These two sides have had some ding-dong battles, Molly.
Yeah, they absolutely have, and they're having another one today. Great Britain, obviously, just that little bit more classier, I'd say, today than what Canada is. Canada have definitely got their work cut out for them, but the game isn't over yet. We still have another 2 quarters, and we still have 5 minutes in this quarter.
Hirschfield gives the ball inbound, nicely works it, and it'll be Whitehead that gets the points. So Canada just lifting a little bit here, starting to show a bit of class, as you said. And Cowling will inbound it nicely to Roberts. Roberts just goes at the line, tries to work his way through mid-court. The Canadians are chasing through Troutman, can't quite get it. And even Trevor Hirschfield couldn't quite get Roberts, so Roberts gets the try for Great Britain. 20-15 now, the margin goes back to 5, just under 5 to play. As now Hirschfield will try and inbound it, gives it nicely away there to Simard. Simard now works it back to Troutman. Troutman just pivots and spins. Tries to work his way to the line. Nicely worked there defensively from Caldwell. Great pass from Troutman. Brilliant hands, Cody Caldwell. And he'll score a terrific try for Canada. Oh, just pretty to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really love the work rate of Troutman. I think he works so hard for his side and he sets them up for success. So I think as long as Canada just tries to play their own game today and not give in to the pressure of Great Britain, I think that's really important.
So there's a couple of changes for the Great Britain side, as you can see. 4 on, 4 off. A couple of new changes. So Mohammed Islam coming onto the court. The number 4 in Gavin Walker as well. And the 3 in Stewie Robinson. And the 22 there in Chris Ryan. So a complete shuffle for Great Britain. Gives their players a bit of a rest. And now they take it to the line here with points. And Stewie Robinson, a player that was pretty dominant in their game yesterday. He certainly gets the points early doors as soon as he's on court. 21-16. So some fresh replacements for Great Britain. Canada, you would think, will probably bring on a couple of new faces just to change it up as Cody Caldwell gets the left wheel changed. Tyre changes, they have to happen in a minute, Molly. So a bit of Formula One pit crew action going on.
It's a bit of a skill, isn't it? I can barely change a car tyre.
Well, if you can do it in a minute, I'm sure there'd be a Formula One team interested in your services. As Caldwell works it nicely close to the line, Troutman works brilliantly in defence, trying to create some problems, goes backwards and gets the try there. Islam and the 22 for Great Britain in Ryan did well to try and prevent that try, but they couldn't quite get there. And now Canada have the ball. Instead, it's Great Britain in Robinson. Robinson works it through nicely. Gives it away to the 22 in Ryan, and Ryan goes over for the try for Great Britain. So starting to just drift away here, 22 to 17. 5 points the margin. 4 minutes into this contest. Nicely worked there, back into Caldwell. Great work from Simard now in protection. Gives the ball across to Troutman. Troutman works it way nicely. Just looks at the line, tries to find some possession. Has Simard in the try area, has Hirschfield just in front of him. Which way will he go, left or right? He goes right to Caldwell. Caldwell goes to Simard, and Simard gets the points for Canada. It's interesting to see the variation of play here, Molly. Players going from an attacking role like a Troutman and then Hirschfield in a defensive role, but they can change it up across the course of the game.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it's really important that you be a versatile player as well. You know, you want to be aggressive in your attack, but you also need to be aggressive in your defence if you want to get points on the board.
As Robinson gets the try there for Great Britain, 23-18. 3:29 left in this first half, second term. It's going at a frenetic pace at the moment. Hope you've been enjoying the opening 2 days of the tournament. If you'd love to join us out here, please do get involved. Head online, 2018 WRWC.com. You'll be able to find all the ticket information there for the remaining pool days, which is today, tomorrow and Thursday, and then of course finals day. The prices just lift a little bit, but you can expect that being a premium day. The gold medal day, that'll be a really exciting contest. Hopefully the Australian Steelers can get there, Molly, and maybe even play a different side. Japan, USA, they're probably the favourites at this stage, but it's anyone's tournament, as you would know.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, coming into the World Championships, Australia are obviously the reigning champions, and there is that element of pressure on them to be able to take it out again. And I think with the way that they've started off the tournament, they're in with a good shot to be able to get it. But who knows? Who knows what can happen through the week?
What role does winning have in a team's culture? Obviously a positive one, but how important is it to develop that culture early in a side?
Oh, I think it's really important. You know, I think that once you win, you start to realise your potential, you realise how great you can be, and it sets you up for success. When you have too many losses, it's just, so I found that with my side, with the Australian women's rugby side with the Wallaroos, we verse New Zealand a lot, and they are a lot more experienced than we are. So we've never beaten them. Right. In the history of every single time we've ever played them, we've never beaten them. But one thing I love about our side is that, we never give up. And then we go to the World Cup and we had a couple of wins there, and you can just see the change in the attitude of the girls when you start to win. You believe in yourself more, and I think that's really important.
Do players react to it differently? How do you take a loss compared to some of your other teammates? Are you someone that's pretty dirty on yourself for a couple of days and then you ride, or do you just accept it, or is that a maturity thing in the side?
I don't think I'm ever dirty on myself for too long. I definitely think that I'm really good at self-reflection, And if we come off, I always give myself, a little while to grieve a loss. We played New Zealand back in 2016 and we lost 63-3.
Oh.
And I cried my eyes out in the change room for a good 20 minutes.
Right.
And then after that, I was like, right, job's on. Let's just hook back into training and build from there.
Well, you can only go up from a result like that.
Exactly.
So.
And we did. We did. We played them again 4 days later. So
lost by 30 points.
Yeah, it was 30 points actually. So it wasn't 60 this time; it was 30.
That is a pure guess. I had no idea. Wow. Okay.
You got to look for the positives sometimes.
Absolutely. So the play inbound for Canada as we get back to live action. 25-20. Great Britain now. Whitehead back on court, working it there to Moroa, but Whitehead will just hold up the pass. Gives it away now to Moroa. Moroa will just hold the line there. He looks for some opportunities now for Canada. Travis Moroa, a great player at the back for the Canadians, now trying to work hard, has Whitehead in front of him. Has the player just to his left-hand side in the 25 in Smith. Gives the pass across court. Brilliant stuff from Shane Smith. The big man goes over for a try. Geez, they're full of confidence, Canada. They're down by 4, but based on what we've seen in this game, you could be convinced that the game was a lot closer.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? I think, like we said before, that Canada just need to focus on their game, and I think that's what they've started to do. Great Britain are really great with putting that pressure on in defence, but Canada have this knack of finding themselves in really good open positions to get over the line.
Well, we've just managed to get that mistake from Great Britain and cause that turnover, so they can possibly get that margin back to 3 now. As Moreau will go at the line, has Whitehead just to his side there, as you can see. Now onto his right, tries to move. Smith working brilliantly in defence. Might give a pass away to Smith. That's clever stuff from Canada. Probably could have got the pass to Whitehead, but he decided to give it to Smith. Really great vision and superb stuff. As we take a look at the replay, take us through this, Molly. This is a superb little passage of play from Canada.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like Great Britain, they were really great in defence, but Canada just put themselves in the right spot and they were able to just go over the line backwards. So they're really fighting for this, for the chance to get some more points on the board and overtake Great Britain.
So the try there to Great Britain goes to the number 4 in Gavin Walker. Now it's an inbound pass from Moroa. Nice to Whitehead. Gives it away to Smith. He's got some space. Working it beautifully. Back inside to Whitehead. Whitehead now some work to do. Looking for some opportunities. Gives it back to Moroa. Inside the final 20 seconds of this half. Margin is 4. Canada, they'll be probably holding onto the ball here so they get possession in that second term. Geez, they've kept the ball alive there. They've got the points. They've got the margin back to 3, which is impressive. But now they've got to try and force that mistake to get possession back in the second half. There's Great Britain now. They may go to ground with the ball here. Tries to go at the line. They might go for points. He's going hard, Great Britain. Tries to go at the line there, Walker. But 1 second left. And Canada have forced the mistake. So a crucial turnover in the very last seconds of this first half for Canada.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is what they want. If they hold on to the ball, by the time the clock winds down, it's theirs in the next quarter. So there we go. This is exactly what Canada needs. And they've really come back since the start of the game. You know, Great Britain really had it over them. But Canada are working hard now and set themselves up for success, I think.
Well, we've got a terrific game here, 26-23. Canada will start with the ball in the second half. We'll take a break, a 5-minute break, but be back with all the action of the second half. Don't go.
See, feel, climb. First out, last in. Look round corners, look in crannies. Go down dark alleys, lose yourself. Catch a lift, break new ground. Turn things inside out. Go walkabout, get set. Go after the goosebumps. Never stop discovering.
And welcome back to the Key Centre for the second half of this contest between Canada and Great Britain, as Great Britain get that try on that occasion, 27-23. The margin now 4 points. John O'Farr and Molly Gray in commentary with you this morning. Wonderful to have you here in the commentary booth. Your first time seeing the sport. How have you made the transition from a player to the broadcast booth?
It's do you know what? It's actually it's been awesome. It's hard though. It's hard retiring from sport.
Yeah.
And, but having the opportunity to be able to do stuff like this and be involved with sports still is just amazing. Regardless, I think it's just important that we all stay as involved as we can in sport.
Do you see the game differently from the commentary box? Maybe like a coaching view, or obviously playing it would be very different, but do you see it differently?
Yeah, absolutely. I can actually see the game now, as opposed to just while I was playing, I was, just big dumb forward, just did my job. And I never saw anything. It was so funny. I'd be out in the back line and I was always a 6 or an 8, and the 10 would be like, right, run at that hole. And I'm like, what hole? I just didn't see. My vision of the game was terrible, but lucky I was just powerful and had a great 10 to tell me where to go. So now being up here and seeing it from a different point of view, you see a lot more.
Yeah. So there's a timeout called there for Canada. They'll just have a board meeting at the left of your screen. So 7.5 to go before three-quarter time. This game absolutely flying. Plenty of games to come still on the live stream. The next one, 12:30, France and the USA. That should be a terrific contest. Bevan Jenkinson will call all the action of that one at the Netball Centre. And then 1:30, Denmark and Australia. The Steelers going for their third consecutive win, as the Great Britain side get that try on that occasion to the 22, and Chris Ryan. You saw the game, Australia and New Zealand. What were your thoughts of the Australian side? You mentioned Riley Batt earlier, but so much talent right across that side for Australia.
Yeah, absolutely. What I noticed about the Australian side is that they're aggressive and they're really powerful. They're just a very dominant side, and it's awesome to watch. I love the contact that they that they bring to the court.
And of course, yesterday at the Netball Centre, I was courtside with Steve Loader calling all the action of the game against Sweden. A dominant win for the Australians, 71-38. But it was interesting, Molly, to see. I saw bits and pieces of the highlights of your game, Australia-New Zealand, but it was interesting to see Australia live for the first time. And I've seen them a little bit on Vision, but they just played such a different game in the sense that players like Riley Batt didn't get as much game time. He was playing a different role. Andrew Edmondson stepped up a little bit differently. They really used their bench really well. Jake Howe scored a couple of tries. Normally he's a defensive player. So it was just great to see that versatility with that side.
Yeah, absolutely. And that comes with depth within the side as well, and experience. And Australia are really lucky that they have a lot of both of those. And, when you play sides that where you are just that little bit better, you're able to utilise people differently and give them new roles. I think that's really important. It gives everyone more experience, and it makes them a harder side to play against as well when you know that your players can switch up roles at any moment.
Shane Smith just bustling through there for the try. Terrific effort there for the Canadians. Have a look at this on the replay, Molly. Great work from Shane Smith in the 25. Look at him here work just nicely close to the line.
Yeah, he's been doing a really good job all day. He doesn't give up, and that's what I really like. And just the way that the two Great Britain players, that they honed in on him then, and he was able to get straight through. Really impressive player.
So nice pass from Maroa to Whitehead. Finds him on the wide side. Tries to go inbound. Tries to get the pass away, but some work to do around that Great Britain defence. Nice pass inbound to Maroa. He goes inside that attacking quarter. Pass over the top. Smith with the catch. And he goes back-to-back for the Canadians. So under 6 to play. That margin now just 3 points. Geez, we sort of mentioned yesterday on the coverage, myself and Gary Pate, we called the game yesterday early doors. We mentioned that ugly word overtime. We might be going here a little bit, I think, between Great Britain and Canada. Your thoughts?
Oh, you know what? There's nothing worse than overtime. I mean, it is great if it's a great contest, but yeah, you've really got to work hard all the way through, don't you? What I've liked about Canada today is, yes, they've started off a little bit slow, but they've really built their momentum throughout this game, and they're definitely giving Great Britain a run for their money.
Now, when you talk about rugby, and you would be the best person to talk about this, you guys would obviously train for that 80-minute period. But do you ever do things at training to say, right, let's pretend the game's gone to overtime, to just prepare yourself for the extra fitness that you need in that, however long that overtime goes?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you've always got to be prepared for every single, every scenario. And if you need to have the fitness to be able to last 80 minutes, but then have that extra fitness as well, and that's really important. But also one thing with overtime is that the mental side of it is really important, because you have to be able to stay calm under pressure, and that's what I noticed recently. At the start of the year, the Super W was played Queensland, New South Wales in the final, and it went into overtime, and then it went into more overtime, and it wasn't until the very last seconds where Queensland made a silly mistake, and New South Wales were able to capitalise on that. So
that's what it's about, really, isn't it?
It's just about hanging on, I think.
So what a game we've got here. 31-27, Great Britain lead it. Pass there to Whitehead, a high one, but he managed to catch it well. Troutman works nicely around Steed in defence. Whitehead gives a pass to Troutman. He manoeuvred himself pretty well there inside that attacking try line. 26 seconds left on the shot clock. He won't waste any more time, and he'll get the points on that occasion. 31-28. Margin goes back to 3 with just over 5 to play between these two sides. Canada, of course, looking for their first victory. They went down to France on day one. Now they work it nicely. Great Britain through Roberts. And Roberts will get the try on that occasion. So wonderful to have the support of GIO, City, Land Rover. Of course, the Australian Defence Force, which Molly is a part of. The Navy, Rugby, AU, Wheelchair Sports, New South Wales. Now, if you're in the market for a new wheelchair rugby chair, well, this Friday, a couple of days away, August 10, at the 2018 World Championships, IWRF, they're going to be auctioning off a chair. It's valued at $9,000. There's a bit of a collision there between the two sides takes place. All the auction proceeds will go to support the IWRF Hall of Fame, and it's proudly brought to you by Vesco Metalcraft. You can get involved, and we encourage you to do so. Head to this website, IWRF.com, for all the information on that auction to take place on Friday. Back to the live action inbound to Whitehead. Whitehead over the top. Canada just trying to work it there. Troutman will work it around Steed, the left and the right little pivot. Whitehead moves inside the key. Will Whitehead now play a role here as Troutman gets the ball over the top? Whitehead gets it. Beautiful connectivity from the Canadians, Molly.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Troutman really works hard for his teammates, doesn't he? And he's quite a nifty little player in the way that he can move his chair around. And, you know, it's impressive. And then his players obviously getting themselves in the right position to just glide on over the line.
Pass inbound to Roberts, nicely from Steed. Steed just goes up the right flank now and plays a bit of a different role in defence. You can see him there on the left of screen. Roberts in some trouble. Now gives the ball away to Steed. Steed will go backwards. Troutman couldn't quite get him, and he goes over for the try. So 32-29 now becomes 33-29. Just over 4 to play. As now it'll be inbound by Hirschfield. He gives it away to Whitehead. Whitehead pops the pass away to Troutman. Troutman works around Roberts. Now Troutman goes through. Beautiful work there from the Canadians and the 12 in Degenaires. Degenaires just providing some beautiful protection from Brandon Troutman. Roberts comes over. The pass over the top was beautiful. And Degenaires finishes nicely for Canada. Great try there for the Canadians. Really starting to peg the lead back now. Down to 3 points with just under 4 to play, Molly.
Yeah, you know what? Same again. Troutman working hard and manoeuvring himself around the court. It must be really hard to defend him as well when he moves like that. He'll go left, he'll go right, and he'll just keep working his way up like that. So being that defensive player would be quite exhausting.
So Steed gives the ball away through some nice work in the back court and gives it to Roberts. And Roberts will go for the try. So Great Britain just get that margin back to the 4 points. As you can see, just over 3.5 to play. Interesting little battles going on all over the court. One developing you can just see on the top right of your screen there. A couple of players involved for Great Britain. Ball goes inbound nicely from Hirschfield. He'll get the ball away to Troutman. Troutman works it nicely through the mid-court. Now just trying to make sure he gets inside that half over the 8 seconds mark. Goes nicely to Whitehead. Whitehead gives it away, but the possession comes to Ryan. And Great Britain now have possession. So Canada didn't need that mistake at this crucial time. Ryan will give the pass, threads the needle, finds Steed. And James Steed will go through for the try for for Great Britain, rather. And it gets that margin now to 5 points. So probably not what Canada needed at that particular section, Molly.
No, absolutely not. Canada have really got to work hard if they want to be able to close that gap again as we are in getting into the later stages of the game. And it's just about finding yourself in the right position and just continually working hard. They can't stop an attack and they cannot stop working in defence either.
It's great to have your company wherever you are on this Tuesday morning, maybe here in Australia or right around the world watching online. We hope you're enjoying the coverage. And if you are in Australia or in Sydney, why not join us out here at either the Netball Centre or here at the Key Centre. Your ticket will give you access to both venues. We're here till Friday. Of course, the gold medal will be Friday night. It should be a strong contest from a biased perspective, Molly. I'm hoping the Australians are in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think they're definitely the favourites going into the final day. They've been the favourites throughout the entire tournament, and they've proven to us so far why they are, because they're a class act.
Hirschfeld gets the try there for the Canadians, 35-31, and it's been a wonderful relationship between wheelchair rugby and Rugby Australia. The last couple of years, you guys, being rugby, of course, such a great synergy between the two major forces in Australian sport.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it's really important as well. Wheelchair rugby and rugby, we're all part of the same family, and we all want to support each other as much as we can. And it just goes to show how much support there is, because the Classic Wallabies are playing tonight,
yes,
which will be great to see. I cannot wait to see how they even go in the chairs, because they're not going to look anything like what we are watching right now, that's for sure.
Well, we had a Club Rugby Challenge. You'll be able to see that on our website, 2018wrwc.com, as well as all the other replays of the games you've missed. But there was some of the Club Rugby boys got out in the chairs last night. There was 6 15-minute games, and I think for some of them they adapted pretty quickly and moved around nicely, but for some of them their size might have been a bit prohibitive inside the chairs.
You know what, I have no doubt as well. There are some big players out there, so they're probably quite uncomfortable trying to move around, and they you know what, it is what it is. At least they gave it a go.
So it comes away for Canada inbound, 37-32. I know Adam Fry is one of the players that's playing in the Classic Wallaby side. I think that'll be the most work he's done in a few years.
He's still, you know what, he's still out there and getting amongst rugby. He's playing first grade for Randwick, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's never going to stop, that guy.
Yeah, no, a terrific fella, Adam. I've known him for a few years through sports media. So we take a look at this replay of that last try. Great work from Troutman. Nicely worked it through the key. Gave it away there to Caldwell. And the try came for Great Britain on that particular occasion. So nice little change up there for Great Britain, 38-32. Of course, Adam's father, Laurie Fryer, was a coaching or part of the coaching staff for the Eastern Suburbs Roosters, now the Sydney Roosters, in the then New South Wales Rugby League competition in the 80s.
Well, there you go. Been a part of footy their whole lives.
So a bit of a history, a bit like you with your mother in rugby.
Yeah. My mum played. She started late in the piece, I'm pretty sure, around about 35, which is quite. Maybe a little bit strange. I don't know. Definitely didn't give her. She didn't have many years playing left in her after that. That's for sure. Yeah. But she did well. It was amazing to watch her.
Do you ever compare stats? You know, which one gets to 100 tries or something like that quicker, or gets to any try quicker?
Do you know what? I think there's that competitive nature throughout my entire family. So Mum obviously doesn't play rugby anymore, but my younger sister does.
Right.
And my brother does as well. And my sister and I have come head-to-head a couple of times.
Okay.
And she gets fiery, gets really competitive with me. And I don't know, there's always this debate about who's faster. She probably is these days. I've had 2 knee reconstructions, so that's what I'm going to lean on.
Fair enough. Go with the injury. It always works. So is it a bit of white line fever between you and your sister when you're out on the field? You play differently, or is there still a little bit of respect left in the tank?
Oh, there's no respect. There's none. I've got this great photo of the two of us where I'm a big fan of a face fend, and I've got this great photo of me just smashing her in the face.
The old don't argue.
Yeah, pretty much. I love it. She doesn't know what to do.
So we come back to live action now, and Great Britain work at 38-32. Just over a minute to play in this third term. Great Britain starting to exert their energy here a little bit more. Canada some work to do. They're desperately looking for their first win of the tournament, certainly not their third loss of the tournament, as Great Britain work it nicely. Plays it at the line, and Aaron Phipps will just slow down the clock, waits till it gets to 1 second on the shot clock. Used it nicely, some clever tactics there for Great Britain, and they get the try on that occasion. So we're inside the final minute of the third term, 1 quarter to go. Stay with us. We've got plenty of action still to come on day 3. The next game, of course, France and the USA, so that begins at 12:30. So it goes away there to Maroa. Maroa just over the top there to Whitehead. Whitehead works it. 46 seconds left on the clock. Will the Canadians go to ground with the ball here, or they'll get the ball away to Smith? Smith tries to play at the line. Just the ball comes loose. Whitehead tries to battle for the ball, but both players in Roberts and Whitehead will watch it go out of bounds. So that margin stays at 7, and now Ryan Cowling will inbound it for Great Britain. So it'll be interesting to see which player or which team goes to ground with the ball here in these final 36 seconds, Molly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the pressure is on now, isn't it? And I'm really trying to figure out who's going to go to ground with this ball. But this has been a really great quarter. Canada came out really hard at the start of this one, but have sort of dropped off towards the end here. And as you can see, the margin is getting greater.
So Great Britain just slowing down that clock. 15 seconds left now on that game clock. They probably will go for the try, you would think, and they do. As Phipps now just pushes his way closely to the line, as you could see there. 5 seconds left on that game clock. So Canada now probably should go to the ground with the ball, but Maroa will go downtown to Whitehead. Whitehead will hold up the pass. Shane Smith was absolutely flying. He was trying to get the ball away, but he couldn't quite get it to Smith. So that brings us to an end of the third term. 3 down, 1 to go. Great Britain, they lead by 8. 40 points to 32. We'll take a break. On the other side, all the action of the final term.
See, feel, climb. First out, last in. Look round corners, look in crannies. Go down dark alleys, lose yourself. Catch a lift, break new ground. Turn things inside out. Go walkabout, get set. Go after the goosebumps. Never stop discovering.
The team has committed an additional 0.5 points. Here we go, folks. Final quarter. Great Britain versus Canada.
Welcome back to fourth quarter action here at the Key Centre as Canada and Maroa gets that try. John O'Farr and Molly Gray in commentary with you for this game between Great Britain and Canada. And now Phipps will take it up there. You can see the score there, 40 points to 33. The margin is about to become 8 as Aaron Phipps goes over for the try. Plenty of work to do for the Canadians in this final term, Molly, but you'll really see the intensity lift in this final quarter.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, what I noticed in the last quarter was that Canada came out absolutely firing, but then dropped off towards the end. So hopefully they can start to lift once more if they want to be able to close that margin, because Great Britain are, they're quite an intimidating side, and they've putting a lot of pressure on the Canadians today.
So they had their first game against Poland on Sunday. That was at the Netball Centre, and they were the 13-point margin winners on that occasion. They've had a couple of mixed results since. As Cowling inbounds to Roberts. Roberts now just taking his time. He's playing a bit of a different role here, Jimmy Roberts, which is interesting to see. Maybe resting him for some of the bigger games to come. He works his way nicely. Good pass away to Phipps. Cleverly read there from Roberts to Phipps. And the try goes to Great Britain. So Moroa will now inbound. He'll get the pass away. Troutman, you can see there, moving around beautifully. Just gets the ball in his hands now. Tries to get the Molten ball away. Rodriguez is flying down that side, and here comes the Canadians and Travis Moroa. Just really came out of nowhere, but flew down that left flank, Molly, and scored the try.
Yeah, and you know what? That's what they probably need to do in this quarter as well, because what I've noticed is that the Great Britons are, they're so close in, and they're quite in your face in their defence tactics. So as soon as Canada can get away and get some distance between them, that's when they're going to be able to score some more tries.
Whitehead gets the pass away, but Canada can't keep possession here. Phipps does well to stay on two wheels. Moves his way at the line and gives it away to Roberts. Geez, they really needed that turnover in that particular section. Couldn't quite keep possession of the ball, and Great Britain have made them pay and built on their lead. Now it goes to Moroa. Moroa will just be held up by Roberts, but here comes Troutman on that right-hand side. Gives the ball beautifully to Caldwell. Caldwell now holding up the ball. Tries to get the Molten ball away. Brilliant work there from Troutman in defence. Holds out Jimmy Roberts. Now Caldwell has Moroa just on his right-hand side. Will he go at that line? Goes at the left peg. Now he tries to come back to the right. Brilliant protection there from Moroa. Gives the pass away. Troutman tries to get the ball. Loses possession. Close to the line. A lot of pressure there from Great Britain to prevent that try. And looks like there's a bit of a discussion between the referee and the number 2 for Canada in Travis Moroa. But the possession will go the way of Great Britain. So an interesting call there close to the line. But Great Britain, especially Jimmy Roberts, Molly, really applied the pressure here, and that's what prevented the goal in the end.
Yeah, they did, didn't they? And it was great to see that Troutman was working so hard, but it's just those little mistakes, and it's how you react under pressure. And unfortunately, he just crumbled a little bit there then, and turnover happened. And this is not what Canada need in the late stages of the game.
43-34 in favour of Great Britain as Roberts has the ball in his hands, trying to work it through the attacking line. Has a couple of options there. Phipps works beautifully in defence. They're in the 13. Now Roberts goes to that right far side. Moroa tries to stop him at the line. He's pretty dirty on himself, but Roberts just gets that try. Sheer determination close to the post. Now, players, they can't touch that post, that line you can see there on that try line. So he did pretty well in the end there, Roberts, to get that try.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about determination here. The line, someone's gone over.
Yeah, a bit of a spill there for Great Britain. And some heavy contact there. Looks like it's the 24 in Cowling that will go to ground. So we'll have a bit of a flip up for him. Hopefully he's okay. Saw a couple of knockdowns. There was one heavy knock in the Australia-Sweden game, Molly. Tobias Sandberg, who's one of their key players. As you can see on his sheets here, your team sheets, 3.5 is usually his classification, which means he's sort of, I suppose, a striker in soccer terms, if you want to put it that way. But he had a massive collision with Riley Batt and Chris Bond, and he got back on two wheels, but these collisions, they're pretty intense, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, sometimes, especially when you've got two big players like those two Australian ones coming at you, it's like, what do you do? Yeah. You're falling. And sometimes, I guess, when you hit the ground, it's going to hurt because that court is hard.
What were your first thoughts coming into the game? I mean, before you'd seen any live action, in your mind, what were you thinking that you'd come out and see?
Do you know what? I didn't know what to expect. I'd heard that it had been previously called murder ball, so I was expecting a lot of hard hitting. Obviously it's got rugby attached to it as well, so there's definitely going to be a lot of contact, and I think it's exceeded all my expectations of what it is, because it's a skillful game. The contact is amazing. I think I'm just impressed with the way that they can move their chairs around the court so seamlessly as well.
There's varying different degrees and changes to the chairs. Obviously, players that have that classification of 3.5. Brandon Troutman's one for Canada. And, of course, Aaron Phipps, who's just taken a bit of a spill there for Great Britain. He's got that 3.5 classification. Basically, the changes in the chairs. His chair is a little bit lighter, which means it's a little bit quicker. Some of the players like the .05 rating, like a Jonathan Coggan for Great Britain, or possibly the .05 rating for the Canadians don't have a .05, so probably the lowest there would be a Trevor Hirschfield in 1.0. But those players, they have a slightly different front, a little bit heavier in the chair because they sort of play a defensive role. So it's interesting to see that weight ratio and what that makes, whether that makes a difference or not in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I have noticed that throughout the week as well. So, it's important that you've got to have your attackers, you've got to have your defenders. Some people are better at things than others, and everyone has a role on the court. So it's all dictated by the chair.
So it goes for Roberts there. You'd probably like some of those Kiwis to have a bit of a weight class.
I would love that, because getting hit by them hurts. I debuted against the Kiwis, and I had a 13 running at me, and I panicked and basically just had to, and this was about 4 or 5 years ago, and I just had to sacrifice myself and just let her steamroll me, and it was like having a brick wall fall on you, that's for sure. I feel like the older and the stronger I've gotten, I can definitely match them now, that's for sure, but
like the footage of the late Jonah Lomu going over the top for New Zealand. I think it was against France in a World Cup a couple of years ago, or many years ago.
Oh, it'd just be terrifying having someone like that.
So Roberts, he tries to go inside that attacking key. So just under 5 minutes to play in this one. Margin is now 10 points, so plenty of work to do with Canada. Let's hope they can do something to get back in this contest as Great Britain just seamlessly, just nicely moves there. Jimmy Roberts worked it well. There was some protection close to the line there, Molly, but somehow Jimmy Roberts found a gap and scored the try for Great Britain.
Yeah, Canada really need to have a lot more awareness in their defensive patterns if they want to be able to stop the likes of Great Britain, especially on that line. They're so aggressive around the line.
So Caldwell trying to get possession there for Canada, but was just sort of taken out there a little bit. Had to redirect his pattern and took out the corner post, as you saw there. Great to have our sponsors involved, GIO, City, Land Rover. Of course, wonderful support from the government and the Australian Defence Force, the Navy, Rugby AU and Wheelchair Sports New South Wales. It's the 25th anniversary of the IWRF. It was created in 1993 as the governing body for the sport of wheelchair rugby. The IWRF, they'd love to thank all the athletes, the coaches, the officials, volunteers, supporters, everybody involved in the code at this level and at any level of wheelchair sports who have contributed to the sport, and they look forward to many more years of growing and supporting this global wheelchair rugby family. Of course, Molly, the sport of wheelchair rugby was created in Canada back in 1973, so turning 45 years this year.
There you go. There you go. So hopefully Canada can turn it on for us today.
Looking for their first win in this tournament. They might struggle in this game against Great Britain, who have been superb here today. Moroa works his way nicely just inside that key, has Hirschfield, but decides to go to Caldwell, and Cody Caldwell gets the try there for the Canadians. Brings the margin slightly back into 9 points. Now it works it nicely for Great Britain as Walker will make his way up court, tries to bump around Whitehead. Now he has Phipps on his left and gives it beautifully to his right to Ryan. And Chris Ryan, he gets a try for Great Britain. Canada, they are certainly trying their best to stay in this one as Moroa gives it inbound to Caldwell. Caldwell fires it to Whitehead. Nice solid pass. Tries to get outside that defensive zone. They've got 12 seconds to try and get out of there. Did particularly well on that occasion. Whitehead now trying to work his way through the line. Mike Whitehead trying to battle over the head of Phipps. Beautifully read Cody Caldwell. Now he's got a battle with Ryan. Couldn't quite get to the try line. But I think on that occasion, they have given the try. So a penalty try based on the collision there from Chris Ryan there, Molly. That's why it was given a try.
Oh, well, that's great. And that's what Canada really need there. But you can see here that Great Britain, every single time, they retaliate so quickly, and Canada just aren't quick enough to react.
Moroa inbounds it to Whitehead. Clever pass over the top. Here comes Caldwell. So they've combined beautifully, moving numerically and combining beautifully. The 8 to the 9, Whitehead to Caldwell. As Ryan inbounds it nicely there to Phipps. Phipps works it just inside that defensive zone. Doesn't take too much time of the 12 seconds to get out of that area. Tries to now go inside that key. Ryan just in front of him. Nice work there. Brilliant defence from the number 4 and Walker on that right flank. And it created the gap and the opportunity for Great Britain as Moroa inbounds. Gives it away nicely to Caldwell. Caldwell around Ryan. Now they come away. Under 3 minutes to play in this game between Canada and Great Britain. Moroa comes on the left flank and gets the try for the Canadians. So, of course, the last meeting of these two sides in a World Championship was 2014. Canada, they were victorious. Went to overtime, 59-58. And they played each other in 2006. And Great Britain won that contest, 33-32. So, haven't they had some great battles over the many years of their involvement in wheelchair rugby as Phipps works his way to the line. Just under 2.5 to play in the game. 51-40, the margin 11, as you can see. Phipps just trying to get through the line, but the hands of Trevor Moroa were just a little too quick, and the referee ruled that he was trying to go for the player rather than the ball there, Molly.
Yeah, it reminds me of rugby a lot when it comes to rucks as well. You have to be really careful about the way you go into it and what you choose to do. And we all know the rules. You can't go for the hands. You've got to go for the ball. And it's moments like that where you give away crucial points.
Nice pass away to Moroa. Beautiful work from Caldwell. And Canada, they respond well. So just over 2 to play. The two sides will have a bit of a board meeting. Canada will go across. They've made a couple of changes. Some new players coming onto the court for them. So they've got 2 more fresh faces in this final 2 minutes of this contest. It looks as though Great Britain have only made the 1 change. And they will now inbound it. Phipps, and of course, the number 2 in Jonathan Coggan coming on for them. So now Phipps will just take his time, almost like that Mighty Ducks flying V pattern, Molly.
Oh, God, gotta love the Mighty Ducks, hey. But, I mean, is it a smarter move from Canada to sit there on the line to defend it while they, while Great Britain work their way down the court?
Yeah, I think so. That's what they seem to be doing, but they've allowed a try to get in there. They were probably just trying to slow up some time for Great Britain to just get that margin away from them, because not only is this tournament based on win-loss results, but it's also for and against. So if Canada, obviously they'll lose this game, you would think, unless a miracle occurs, but if they lose the game and they can sort of reduce that margin, that'll really help for the for and against as the tournament goes on.
Absolutely. Well, you notice that with the US side on the Monday, that's how they defended pretty much the entire game, and it worked really well for them against Colombia. So
the ball inbound now for Great Britain, 53-42. So the margin just 9 points now. Trying to get away from them. Plays at the line, back inside nicely to Phipps. Phipps will play there. Coggan did particularly well, close to the line. Tries to go there. Left side, now the right side, and gets through. Whitehead couldn't get him. And we're inside that final minute. 53-42 in favour of Great Britain, becomes 54-42. So margin's starting to get away from Canada, but they're trying to get that margin reduced so that their percentage rate will improve coming into the tournament. But they need a victory. That's what they're after in this tournament. Looking at down the barrel of their 3rd consecutive loss, which is a bit of a surprise for Canada. Whitehead, nice pass over the top, and Shane Smith gets the points. The man they call Diesel. He gets the try for the Canadians.
Well, you know what? I've noticed Smith all day. He's just got this knack of putting himself in the right position while his other teammates are working their way up the court. He finds space, and then he finds that line really easily.
So Phipps will work it there. Ryan just on his flank. Coggan working well into a defensive role, but Phipps needs to get it out here. The Great Britain side, they need to spread out on court, looking for options. Ryan's moves beautifully, but it gives away to Coggan. Coggan pivots and spins around Rodriguez. Nicely worked from Coggan. Jono Coggan trying to get inside that line, but just holding the play and the ball too long. Phipps, it was so crucial for him to get it away, Molly. Couldn't quite do it, and that sort of time limit that we spoke about pre-game really was a telling factor in that positional play there for the Great Britain side.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that is full time here, ladies and gentlemen. A terrific game between Great Britain and Canada. Unfortunately, Canada, their losing streak continues, but for Great Britain, they get another win on the board, which is so valuable after having mixed results. 55-43 in favour of Great Britain. It's been a wonderful game. We hope you enjoy it. The next game, 12:30, France, USA. That would be getting underway very, very shortly. My name is John O'Farr on behalf of Molly Gray. It's been wonderful to have you here, Molly. You'll be sticking around for the next game.
Absolutely. I will be here for the rest of the week as well, and I'm looking forward to all the action.
So great to have you a part of the Wheelchair Rugby family and certainly here in the broadcast booth. So as you can see, both sides just commiserating and celebrating the win and the loss. Great Britain, too good here, 55-43. We'll take a break. The next game will be France and the USA, and the next game here at the Key Centre. Really looking forward to this one. 1:30 that gets underway. It'll be the Danes and the Australians. The Australians going for their third consecutive victory after wins over New Zealand and Sweden yesterday. Until then, it's bye for now from the Key Centre.